hard for you today, y'all. I got my main man, my bro, from Philly Dilly. Funk from the front seat, y'all. 9 on the Grind TV. It's a love vibration today, y'all. Love vibrations. All out there. I want y'all to grab them, pick them up. And I got my main man, Mr. Kevin Harrington, is in the house today. Yeah, y'all know all about this brother. And if you don't know, now you know. One of the most influential brothers in my life, yo. Nothing but a love vibration as we kick off Funk from the Front Seat. 3rd year anniversary month, y'all. The whole month of May, we got special guests coming. We're going to drop a few tidbits and specials out there for you. Man, shout out to my home girl up in Ohio, Brenda Wood. Lucy and Patty, what up? Nothing but love vibrations for you. Dr. Brookenstein, Funky Philly Dilly, hanging out with Kev over there. Woo! My producer, Mr. Mark Lee. 3 years, yo. New York. Clap your hands. Strong Island, be sure. I'm back today, y'all. Queens. Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan. All right, New York. Let's rock it. Kevin Harrington in the house. Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I got you, Minneapolis. Detroit. Woo, I got y'all up there in Canada. Woo, Virginia, I got you. North and South Carolina, I got you. Georgia, Funky Bitches, Texas. I know you said you're waking up early. I got you, bro. I need the whole world to clap your hands like this. Love vibrations. What's up, CB? I got you, boo. I love you. Look from the front seat. Can you feel it? New Orleans, can you feel it? Kentucky, can you feel it? Oklahoma, can you feel it? Florida, can you feel it? Love vibration all around the world. Kevin Harrington, K&N Jam, KHX Entertainment is in the house. California, can you feel it? Oregon, all around the world for the fun. Washington State, Utah, Delaware. Hawaii, Samoan, doing the Humpty Hump, Humpty Hump. Tokyo, Annyeonghaseyo, China, Japan, Dubai, the whole continent of Africa, Colombia, Puerto Rico, Egypt, Iran, Ukraine, love vibration, Russia, love vibration. I need the whole world to sway like this. Elizabethan Island, I got you. Copolino in Italy, I got you. Danny Sosa's in Germany, I got you. CJ Monica in Switzerland, Sweden, I got you. Thank y'all for playing the stuff, man. Kevin Harrington, my bro, my mentor. Everybody clap your hands like this as we ease into the show with my main man, Mr. Kevin Harrington is in the front seat today, y'all. Funk from the front seat. 9 on the Grind TV is honored and proud to have this brother, producer, my God, amazing musician, arranger, writer. Just so many accolades for this brother that he's done over the years and being MDs for major artists. And personal mentor to me, and, guiding light, inspiration, big brother, little brother, whatever you want to call it, man. It's all wrapped up in the one in this brother. It's nothing but a love vibration. Right now, without further ado, Mr. Kevin Harrington, man, come on in and pop in the front seat with us, man.
What up?
What up? There he is, man.
What's happening?
How you doing, man? How's everything? How's family?
All good, man.
Good. Family good.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations on your 3rd anniversary.
Thank you. Means a lot.
I can say I was there when it was a thought.
Bro, you helped manifest this thought, man. People don't know, and I'm gonna let you tell the story, but I called you about this during COVID, and we spoke about it, man. But I'll let you elaborate, man.
Because we was always in discussion then of, for me, this is a great time technology wise to do whatever it is you want to do, and at the press of a button, you're worldwide. So when you said it, I was like, okay, I haven't seen it before. I was like, my thing is like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. See, Kevin is like my concierge, right? So for y'all mob terminology, I always call him and talk to him about stuff before I try to throw it out there, man, because his brother drops knowledge on me that not many people do. And I appreciate that. So I was talking to him and I was like, yo, man, I think I want to try this. I got nothing else to do. I'm cooped up in the house, cooped up in the car, So, yeah, I just want to thank everybody for watching, man, these 3 years and supporting it, because it's been an amazing journey. And we've had so many guests and with so much information. So, between my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, who also played a huge hand in this show because he's the one that taught me the behind the scenes stuff. And for those of you that don't know, Mark is an amazing producer of his own shows, as well as producing so many others. So I have to give kudos to my man. And I just want to say thank you to Mark. Because, man, I appreciate everything you've ever done, Mark, and being behind the scenes and working like you have worked tirelessly on other stuff to have time for this project and to make it go every Saturday after Saturday, year after year. Now we're into our 3rd year. Bro, I love you, man, and thank you for that.
Hey, well, I love doing this show. It's an amazing show, and you've got an amazing guest in Kevin and everything. But definitely, you do some great conversations around music and around the funk music and just life in general. So I'm just glad to be part of this amazing team.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. So, Kev, man, let's get right into it, man. So you were born in Queens in the midst of the greatest musical era, I think, ever. Not the slight jazz era, none of that, but the electronics and the technology and the sound really wasn't as big as it was when we came up. So tell us what that was like, man, in the early, the late 70s, early 80s, just being able to get it from the raw.
So it was more early 70s. So I'm in music terms, they consider when I started kind of late. So around 11, 12, that's usually considered late. But, surrounded by music. So I come from, my mother and father were singers, out the church. So let's start there. Everything was grounded out of the church. So,
amen.
And, so my parents both sang. And basically my father's side, both sides of the family really sang. Nobody really played that I knew of. At the time they were singers. So I lived a year in Georgia. I was 6. And my uncles and them sang. They had me in the choir at 6. Not by choice, but hey, when grandma said you're in it, then you're in it. So actually, this is where the drums got into my head. So my uncle, he's a college professor there. He was on the drum line, and they had recorded a record back then. So this is 68, somewhere around there, 7. And there was what was this song? Land of 1,000 Dances or something like that. Anyway, they had a drum break. And I don't know what it was about the drum break that stuck with me. And, I used to watch him practice in the yard, the snare drum and the whole thing and throwing a stick in the air and that kind of stuff. And that break just stuck with me. Now, his younger brother got me into sports. So that took over while I was down there. He was teaching me all the sports. So when I come back to New York, I still got drums in my head, but I ain't playing. I'm still more in the sports. So now I got Richard Ruiz, which is my main influence. And Richard Currents was a drummer across the street. He was like the big deal in the neighborhood. And so I was surrounded by that. So, I started playing. Now, I got to say that for a fact that you need somebody that's willing to take the time with you when it comes to you wanting to learn an instrument, and mind you, I didn't have it in school, in elementary school. So Richard Ruiz, I got to say, he's the reason why I'm playing drums, as far as kept me going. Mm-hmm. The fire came from my uncle listening and watching him, but had it not been for Richard, I would have been gave up.
Yeah.
And he would always tell me, say, you just gotta hang in there, man. He said, don't quit. And because I'm listening to them, and I'm going, okay, I'm not getting there.
Exactly.
I'm not reaching that. Richard Currents, who lived across the street. Now, we had a group out of Queens called Creative Funk. And so they was already pro level. They had their own label, records. They had their own recording studio. They actually had other groups in the neighborhood signed to them.
Right. You tell me that, yeah.
Yeah, Gary D. I had him on my show. And so, it was such, like, at that era, like you said, there was bands on every block. So that became the thing. If you wasn't playing basketball, you was a musician, and most times both.
Yeah.
Because, again, we came up in a time in school where you had to take an instrument.
That's right. Amen.
You had to. So even in elementary school, where, of course, they didn't have a budget, it was more chorus. We were singing. We had teacher teaching us songs, and we sing. So junior high school is where I had the opportunity to play in school. Now, me and you talked about this before. Here's where that was a problem. Everybody was putting together bands, and being in junior high school, all they teaching you a snare drum. And it's like, yeah, I can't get in a band playing a snare drum. So I was like, so this ain't gonna work for me, But I said I stuck it out because honestly, first of all, they had put me in orchestra. There was no way I was staying in there, even though I love classical and I love strings. I was doing that because, again, like you said, that was the band era. And it's like, come on. So, but Rich, I didn't have a drum set, and Rich would let me go come practice on his set and show me. And probably the most important thing that he did for me at the time was gave me my first Billy Cobham album. And that changed everything.
Yes, it did.
Because, I'm listening to the radio. And again, there was nothing wrong with that. You hearing Funky George and stuff like that, Kool and the Gang. But when I heard Billy Cobham is when I realized, oh, this is what
another level, right?
Yeah, right. This is what it is. And that's how Richard was playing. He was playing that stuff. And that just became what it was about for me. But everybody was into starting a band. So I had my friends who started a band. But like you said, it was so many musicians there that were willing to take the time or let us watch. So, we had Marcus Miller in the neighborhood. Now, mind you, Marcus was playing sax.
Wow.
Yeah. He could play sax, keyboards, and, he played bass. But in the bands around there, like on my show, I interviewed a guy, Glenn, him and Wayne Jeffrey and stuff. They were saying that Marcus played sax in their band. So I remember him playing when he was playing bass.
Yeah.
In the local bands. I see him at block parties. He come through the block. Because, again, Richard Ruiz was such a killing drummer. Like, every musician was coming through his basement.
Yeah.
You know, so in his band, Najee was part of that band.
Wow.
You know, but this is long before Tony Henson. I think he goes by Savage now. He left them to go play with George Benson. You know, and my thing, I was getting exposed to all these cats.
Yeah.
There were so many drummers coming through there that was just like ridiculous.
Omar, right?
I met Omar when I was a little older. I was 15 by that time.
Uh-huh.
I was playing the band, and we was doing we was playing out in Ajax Park out in Queens, in Jamaica. And he came up to me, and he's like, "Hey, man, you sound really good." And he's shaking my hand. And then when he said his name, I was like, "Oh, I know who you are," you know. And that's how we met.
Yeah.
You know. But at the same time, on that gig with us was at the time they were Jack's Ass, which is La La.
Yes.
Right. You know, Grammy Award winning songwriter in her own project. She wrote "You Give Good Love" for Whitney. Glenn Jones, she did "Show Me."
That's right.
You know, and Mike Murphy from what was the name of the group? Him and The System.
Yes.
Right. They all come out the same band. You had what did she go by now? Her name is Liz, Double Z.
Right.
She was the first female bass player I ever saw.
Okay.
Was her. And you know, she's played with all the name acts now. And so it was just a lot of bands, Barry Johnson, Donald Blackman, you know, Bernard Wright, people, you know.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Out the neighborhood. Nas since we was 13, 14, something like that. Yeah, man, it was so many cats. Yeah. You know, came out of Queens, influenced Denzel Miller. Just so many, man. It's too many. And I'm trying to think, and everything's flying by me. And then people that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Just like it was so much music happening, you could just walk the street and hear a band. You might not even know who they were.
Yep.
You know, when people say a band on every block, yeah, it was really like that.
That's right. See, the thing about it that was so good, and you brought up something funny that reminded me, and real quick, you said you can't get in the band playing snare drum. I took upright bass first. People don't know that. I actually played bass before I played drums. And I told my guy, I love Mr. Burns. I said, but I can't get in the band playing upright bass. That's why I switched to drums. But like you said, I try to explain a lot of time to the young heads, we didn't have the hateful keep away rivalries. The older brothers took us in. They had rivalries of who would be the best, but it only pushed us to work on our chops. It wasn't a haterade like it is now. And like you said, you could every block, every borough, every group of people, there was a band in it. And the good thing was it was crossover. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, you do this, so you can't be with me because you're a rock guy, or I can't be with you because you're a fusion guy. It was like, hey, you play fusion? Teach me some. Or, hey, you play Edgar Winter, White Trash? I told Gary Bordes, I'm taking his album. Live at the Apollo, white boys playing, and they funking it like that. I said, Gary, I'll bring this back in like a month. And in exchange, I gave him my Mother's Finest. He said, who are these people? I said, yo, these are Mother's Finest. So he took that. To this day, he thanks me for turning him on to Mother's Finest, man. But yo, man, we're hanging out today on Funk from the Front Seat, our first anniversary show. We got 4 this month. It's our 30th anniversary. Mr. Kevin Harrington, man, musical producer, you know, and he's been working on some serious stuff, you know, with his company. He has apparel out, so please follow all of his social media outlets, man. We're gonna be running them on the bottom of the screen, man. So when you developed your drum shops, easy for me to say, and then you started doing your thing. When was the first time you actually went out and realized that, wow, you know, you are in the big waters?
Wow. Let me see. I did my first gig at 12, 13, somewhere around there. I don't know, because at that time, so when I was 14, I met Warren McCrae. Now, Warren is the bass player out the neighborhood, out of Jamaica, Queens, who people know if they seen Tina Turner before she retired, he was the MD. He's done Joe Cocker and, you know, people on that list. So I played in his band. for years. So from about the age of 15 up until 19, 20, me and him played. I probably was the first one to venture out and played. So I would say when I was 19, I played with a artist, Sherry Winston, who was a flute player, and that was the first time I left the country.
Yeah,
playing with her. So Tony Bridges, another Jamaica Queens cat out of Rochdale. Him and Marcus are out of Rochdale, and Billy Cobham. He called me for that gig, and so I would say that was the first level on, that was the first high level.
Right.
These all these people were established, and it was even a funny story with her because she asked Tony Bridges. This is after she heard me. Then it was like, wow, because she said, "What are you doing bringing this kid in here?" And and I think everybody else in the band had that look like, why are y'all bringing this kid here? And she said, but after I heard you play, I was like, okay. Yeah. And so from there is when I started meeting guys who were coming off the road, who were playing with Gloria Gaynor and Patrice Russian's drummer. I don't remember his name at the time, because you remember the Daily Planet down on 30th Street.
Yeah.
Right. So you remember the music building with all the studios in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So all the name acts at that time was rehearsing in that building at one of the many studios. So, that's for me, that's when it started popping, when I was getting, tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, that was, my late teens is when I started doing that, but at the same time, I done already had 2 kids, so that juggle was real.
Yeah.
People, that's one thing a lot of people don't talk about, man, and because you had kids young, that balance. I'm still playing in bands. I can remember picking up my son and had to drop him off to his mother and then go to the gig, and taking my kids to recording sessions, stuff like that, because it's like, hey, I ain't got no else for them. They got to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to sit here today with you, man, and reminisce and talk about us being now the gatekeepers and the elders, and then still so vividly honor the shoulders that we stand on, man. And I think I would like to see more people our age doing it. Maybe they don't have the platforms to do it, but I'm telling y'all right now, man, I was called a couple of months ago with Funko Joe Santiago to just come on and do his last mandrill thing and just do vocals. And That was such an honor that I was like, wow, he even pays attention to me. You know what I'm saying? So that was an honor, man. It was like so cool to meet him, hang out. He's always been one of my favorite drummers, man. And, I'm going to go out with him in August for a bit. But it was such a surreal moment, when I sent you that picture of me and Dennis. But I had met Dennis at a drum contest. He was the judge.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I was so scared because I seen him with P-Funk, and like you said, when you see cats, like, you're a prodigy, a technician, but when you see the prodigies, you're like, I'll never be able to play like that. I was so scared, I didn't even want to talk to him. He came up to me and gave me a Zildjian shirt. He said, hey, good luck tonight. And I was like, Dennis Chambers, yeah. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, P-Funk, yeah. I couldn't even formulate words. I was like, I'll try, and to be able to vibe with him now and talk to him, and, like you, I see you on that level, man, because every time I worked with you in Nappy Head and we did other projects, I was like, I used to just be in awe of you, just what you do, and, man, if people don't know the music behind Revolution, Spiritual Purpose, the Nappy Head Funk Army, all that early stuff, that was this brother right here. You know what I'm saying? So kudos, man.
Thank you.
Oh, God, man, please. It's my honor. A quick shout out. Chaka Khan finally made the Hall of Fame. Missy Elliott. Yes. Your thoughts on that real quick?
She deserved to be there, She's been deserved to be there, but, I don't know what the criteria is for that. But when you look and you see other people is in there, and like you said, how come Chalk is not in there then? You know, and it could be said for there's quite a few people that you could say that about, and not just music. Basketball Hall of Fame, I look and I go, how come some of these other guys from the late 70s and 80s are not in the Hall of Fame yet? And it comes to be more of a popularity type thing, you know. I always say how soon they forget. You know, they forget. It's almost like, oh, well, I mean, you know, you look at hip hop and to go, you know, you talk about Tupac and Biggie and realize they've been gone over 20 years.
That's right.
They've gone over 20 years.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but you would put somebody who was popular right at the top.
Yep.
And that's the part that, you know, again, from where we come from, it's like, I got nothing against them getting in. I kind of think it's not their turn yet.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Because people don't know, I wear this for Pop. Every time you see me with that hanging, that's for Pop, man, because he was my guy. Eminem too. Both of them, they're my guys, man. And like you said, the politics, we was talking off air earlier, and we're hanging out with Kevin Harrington, man, Kane and Jams, KHX Entertainment, got his own clothing merch line out, you know, working with so many artists up top, man. And his brother is my mentor, my concierge, man. I love this brother, man. We go blood deep. Like when these I guess I don't want to call them judges, but whoever is on these committees sometimes, you know, as these committees get younger and younger, they don't have no reference but a YouTube.
Right.
So they can't see stuff that the cats, they can't feel it. They see it. It's two-dimensional, even with the AI virtual. You're not going to see it. But when you up there and you watching, you know, Ashford and Simpson, for instance, they got a full orchestra funking it up. She's playing piano. He's singing.
Right.
That harmony is pitch perfect.
Right.
Everything they did sound better than the record. And you realize you ain't going to get that from YouTube.
Right.
You're not going to get Luther's, you can hear it.
Right.
But when he did it and you see it, and I seen every woman in the house go,
right.
I was at, what's that little round place on Long Island that they used to have concerts at? You know, place
I know you're talking about Westbury Music Fair.
Yes.
Right,
I went with me, Jeff, Bernie. We brought our band there because it was Luther, Stanley Clark, and Pieces of a Dream. What a
wow,
dude, right? I got to shake Stanley's hand. His hand was like Sasquatch. I was like, oh, no wonder you could hold. Stanley played the whole gig without a strap. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
Right.
He just without a strap, played with his thumb the whole gig, walking around. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's impossible. But anyway, Luther comes on, and he was singing something. I don't know. But every lady in there, you know, I'm observing. As soon as he did that thing, everybody went. They went limp. And I looked at Jeff. Jeff looked at me, and we was like, yeah, Luther got him, you know. But see, you ain't going to get that from YouTube, man. And that's where I think they always need to keep veterans on these committees, NBA, music, whatever, Hollywood, whatever.
Right. Yeah, and it needs to be somebody who was in a certain era, if just to enlighten it, because, you know, it's nothing against the young people, but for me, a lot of them don't go back. They look at stuff that's right now and think that this is where it started and, you know, have no idea.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, even with hip hop, I'm like, okay, y'all realize they're celebrating 50 years.
That's right.
So now you got to go 50 years, y'all, hip hop. And that's just when they started documenting. It goes back a little further than that.
Yep.
You know, you talk to Eric J, so you know he knows.
That's right.
Jay, you know, is up there with all that history. So it goes before Kool Herc, to put it like that.
Yep. The Last Poets, you know, right. Those cats that was singing from jail, the Escorts. I told a brother there was a group that had a major recording deal, and they was all in jail behind bars. And he couldn't believe it. I said, Google the Escorts. You know, and of course it was injustice done to them. They should be in the Hall of Fame just for that. For having a #1 record, and you was locked in behind bars, and they recorded it with basically a 2-track. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know.
And I understand this is why, you know, different groups of people start their own because of stuff like that.
Yes.
It's like, of course, y'all not recognizing certain people because maybe it don't matter to y'all. This is why, you know, certain groups start their own. It's like, okay, we have plenty in our world that belong in the Hall of Fame that y'all not even going to recognize because they wasn't pop or they wasn't this. So, you know, I always look at, to me, a lot of times, well, if that's what it takes, then start your own.
Yep.
You know, I always said about the Hispanics, I was like, who else got their own Grammys?
Yeah.
There's a Latin Grammys.
Yep.
Because they're going, our music is too large for 4 categories. Are you kidding me? We got a whole show worth of categories in Latin music.
Yep. And
so I'm like, they ain't wait for nobody. We just gonna do this.
That's why I always admire Latin people, the Latin culture, the Latin Grammys. I always admired them because they be like, listen, y'all stay over there, keep messing around. We're gonna get stuff done. Right. Gotta tip my hat to that.
You know, like the whole funk thing. So we came up when that was what was happening. The whole, you know, the funk era. And like you said, you know, me and you talked about that it's still here, but it's scattered. And, you know, and I got to say, your show, because that's another thing that was we were talking about, for your show to kind of bring that a little closer together. And, you know, and me watching the show, I can see that you've done that, man, because there's so many artists that I wouldn't have known about. I'm saying, and that's the one thing that you starting that show is funk artists that maybe we wouldn't have knew about in other places. Yeah. And so that brings that together. And like we always said, you know, the funk world has to come together and start doing stuff themselves instead of waiting for somebody else to come do it.
That's right. That's right. And you know, that brings to a good point. Mark, we got Keith Jackson's voice ready. We're hanging out with Kevin Harrington today.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Nice.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check them out.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Thank you, Christy, for always keeping that real. We'll do Joe's next week, Mark. Don't worry about it. Yeah, because I want to hang out and get deep into some stuff, man. We're hanging out on the other side, K&N Jams, KHX Entertainment, Mr. Kevin Harrington. Got a new merch line, some clothing, new music, constantly working with all the artists that need that thing that he does so well. And I'm definitely one of them. Real quick, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when you see brothers and sisters, you know, that are trying to reach back and prop people up and lift people up, right? What do you think the brothers and sisters saw in you to not allow you to quit, and they encourage you and say, listen, don't give up? Because you know how it was, some cats, they just never wanted to take the time with. Right. But some people, they saw something. What do you think it was that they saw in you to encourage you like that?
I really couldn't say, other than that kind of seemed to be the climate at the, you know, when we were coming up. Like you said, there's always going to be somebody that wasn't with that, but yeah, for the most part, the older guys would just do that. You know, they love to see people, you know, playing and encouragement, because it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get sidetracked and distracted. And again, like I said, sometimes you would look at how far ahead somebody was, and they would see you getting, discouraged and going, like, they tell you, I didn't get like this overnight. Y'all are seeing me after years of practicing. So you're going to have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And, because a lot of times with Rich, man, there was times I'm like, I'm giving up, man. He's like, nah, you got to keep going. You got to keep doing this and stuff like, like that. And so, because I got to tell you, man, I'm listening to Maha Vishnu Orchestra at 13. And I'm getting my mind blown, And so at the same time as I'm like, wow, Narada, I want to play like that. At the same time, you go, oh my gosh, man, how am I going to ever learn? How am I going to learn that? But again, if it's your passion, then you take the time. And I was a big study of Lenny White. And it's like later on I found out he was, lived out in Queens, out in Laurelton. And I would study him every day. Like I had drummers again. So everybody knew Lenny White, but me and you and other drummers from the era knew Alphonse Mouzon.
Yes, and Jerry Brown.
Right. A lot of drummers don't know them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Again, so that's what I mean by popularity. It was like, we 11th house. I don't know how many people know Alphonse was the original drummer of Weather Report. Because later on, they kind of got a little more in the mainstream, and then whoever was in the band, then people knew. But that was some avant-garde stuff Alphonse was playing. So, again, like I said, Rich just kept telling me, hey, man, just learn this. And when you start to hear yourself getting better, that was always encouraging.
Yes.
When it's like, oh, wow, I could actually play Pleasant Pheasant note for note. And so that was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to get good.
Yeah,
so, that learning something about Billy Cobham, you can play it note for note and match him. You've learned some stuff.
Yeah. Let me tell you, you got to educate. The good thing, like you said, man, we're hanging out with Kev today, man. It's like back then we didn't have YouTube, so we could stop it and see exactly. It was like you saw them live maybe once every 2 years or 3 years when they got bigger. But you had to put the record needle back to that spot ahead, then run to the kit. You know what I'm saying? And then try to, that's what he kind of did,
And the lesson
was hard
in learning like that that's what developed my ear.
Yes.
And thank God for that, because I was so impatient that, when a teacher was trying to teach me theory, get out of here with that. Again, snare drum. I wasn't, I started on someone, I was like, I don't want to do that. So learning arrangement, because you basically were learning everything.
Yes.
You're going to learn the look, but you also got to learn the arrangement of the tune.
Yes.
You also learn to listen to the other instruments within the song, because some of them was cues for me. Like I know, hey, the bass player plays that. I know that we going into the bridge. So for me, it started teaching me just so much other stuff.
Yeah.
On how to play within a unit and stuff like that.
Yes.
Which worked out fine, was why a lot of times I could hear something maybe once or twice and know it, because that's how I learned.
Yes.
I'll learn your arrangement by sitting there listening and listen to other instruments and go, keyboard, I know the keyboard line, because the keyboard line tells me what I'm supposed to be playing at times.
Yes.
And this is how that was my how I learned.
And let me tell you, you're absolutely right, because drummers, we had to know everybody else's part. We're the only ones in the band that has to know everyone else's parts, because like you said, we have to support every single part in the band in a certain part of the song. Drummers never get enough credit for that. And you and I have talked about this too. The disco era that we came up in gave us that lock timing. That we could then bring into other things. And I thank God for disco. People used to mock it and laugh, but I was working all the time. Right. And the thing was, the white boys, some of them, the Roughnecks, used to laugh at me, right? But then I would also go and jam with them and kick their ass with Led Zeppelin. And they would look at me like, damn, you play John Bonham better than I do. I think that's because I was into Zeppelin and listened to all of them my whole life. Just because I wasn't playing it, don't mean I don't know Edgar Winter. Don't mean I don't know John Bonham. Don't mean I wasn't paying attention, you know?
Right. And again, that's the thing. I was just talking about with a friend of mine the other day that at the time we were coming up, everything was playing.
Yes.
Everything was playing on the radio. You know, I would say that Don Kirshner just was our internet then. Because like you said, that's where we're going to see acts that maybe our radio station don't play. Watch Don Kirshner's.
Yes.
The first time I saw what's the drum? What's the name that had the goldfish in his drum set? I know you remember.
Oh, Buddy Miles?
No. He sings, the white drummer. In his floor times, he had it and it had goldfish in it.
Was it? Oh, I know who you talk. Yeah, I can't remember. It wasn't Baker.
Phil Collins.
Collins, yes.
Was Genesis? Was he
Genesis.
playing drums at the time? Right?
Or Brand X. Could have been Brand X.
No, it wasn't Brand X. I remember Brand X.
Okay, so it was okay.
It was them, right? And he had a 5 set. It was clear.
Right.
But the 4 times had a bowl at the bottom. He had goldfish in it.
Right.
And stuff like that. I'll never forget. You know, but we would see that. And like you said, Brand X. Where else was you going to see Brand X on TV? They wasn't going to be on Lawrence Welk. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know, growing up in that era, TV was pretty much locked down with 3 channels. Right? So I told somebody this once down here, and they couldn't believe it. I said, we talk about country music. And I said, well, in New York, they played everything on the radio stations. I dug it, right? I said, they had everything. You know, I said, but I learned my country music from watching Hee Haw. And the person absolutely basically just flipped out. They're like, you remember Hee Haw? I was like, dude, we used to watch that so we could see Roy Clark, Jerry Reed, and all of them get down. I say, every musician in my hood, we all watched anything that had anything to do with music.
Right.
I could hum the Crazy Cat thing. Dun, 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 dun. Flintstone. Dun, 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 you know, it was that.
Right. And look at the arrangements of those theme songs back then.
Oh, God. You know? They were killer.
They were ridiculous. And you know, and so now in this era, we find out who that was. Again, because we didn't have, you know, it wasn't no internet, so it didn't make things smaller. But now you find out who those guys were playing then. Same way, you know, the thing came out about the Funk Brothers.
That's right. Amen.
We grew up listening to Motown, but
amen.
You know who was playing? You know, until later. I forgot what they're called. What's her name? Carol Kay, the bass player.
Yeah.
You know, all the stuff that she played on.
Yep, that's right.
And you know, like I say, I'm so glad that these people are getting to be seen.
Yes. Because
this is who we came up listening to.
Yep.
You know, all that stuff that Aretha and them was recording when they had to go down to and it was a bunch of white guys playing on her early stuff.
That's right.
Once she got to Atlantic, because you know, she was doing all jazz when she was with Columbia.
Muscle Soul,
Right. Muscle Soul, exactly. So all that music, we know who that was.
Yep, that's right. When you and I did our gig, I remember we did Harry Chapman Theater. I think you did that with us. Jerry Jamont was there.
Jerry Jamont, right.
And bro, let me tell you something. Talk about being in awe. I couldn't sleep. I was a fanboy. I was like, Jerry Jamont. You know, I told Gary, I said, why you staring at that cat? We was in StreamYard. He said, you don't know who that is? I was like, no. I said, I've seen him in Sam Ash. And I said, but he seemed important because when he walked in, everybody's like, hey, you know, Jerry Jamont's here. I said, but I said, who is Jerry Jamont? And he said, yo, that's the guy. I was like, really? You know, yeah, man.
Yep. They even played with him, right? Because he came in and played with us at the studio that time.
Yeah, man. Yo, I still stay in touch with him. Yo,
yeah,
I love that brother. I love him, man. If I could jam with him again, I will. He was so nice. He's the one that got me more into when I was thinking about Jesus and Buddha. He helped me get that transition and put that stuff together. We talked a lot about spirituality. You know, he would come to my crib in Staten Island. We would meditate, sit on a little stoop out there, and just talk about life, you know, and life stories, man. We're hanging out with Kev today. We're going to bring Mark Lee on a little bit later. This is a special show. It's our first edition of our 4-week, you know, month. This month is our anniversary, 3 years we're in the running. So thank you all for your support, man. Let me ask you, I want to tie in something. Live Nation and iHeart and a few other major corporations are now monopolizing all of the venues, right? The major venues. I know trying on to open up with George and Fishbone down here at the Ritz. So I got, my manager down here, Oak City Music Collective, Diego's working on that. But it's so locked down. How can we get black dollars like LeBron James and them to invest in our own Live Nations, our own stuff like that, so we can uplift these bands that are still here, like Slave, like Your Thing, like My Thing, like Lakeside, and this and that, instead of them doing these little 2-hour slots on boats or private things. These people are still viable. They're still here. Black dollars, if you out there, support us. We need black dollars because we're not getting it from nowhere else. Right. How do you think we can get them to pay attention to us without setting ourselves on fire?
Now see, that's all a business thing. And so, like, Tony Bridges, the bass player, told me this was like 1982. He said, Kev, it's the business of music. It's not the music business. He says the business of music. He said, always understand that, because, like you said, you need dollars. So now you're talking about a whole nother thing. This, because it could be any product. Don't got to be music.
Right.
So the one thing somebody who wants to invest in something either has to see the vision. More than likely have to be somebody that comes from your era, or you got to show them where they're gonna make money.
Yeah.
Point blank. So even with the capital groups, they're investors, but basically they want to see where any money's gonna be made. And that's the thing. Now, of course it can make money. Has to be the right business plan. Has to, again, it works out better when there's somebody who wants to see that work. Yeah. And go, oh yeah, I love that. This is that was my thing when I was coming up. You gotta find that. Yeah. And it's there. Yeah. It's definitely there.
It's there. It's there. The money's there.
Again, Prince, that's what he always spoke of. When his thing was, they'll bring your kids, because your kids need to see what a show really is. We need to train them to understand, like seeing P-Funk land the mothership, right? On video, it's still some incredible stuff to see, but there's no way that it matches being there when it happened. My sister got to see that at the Garden. She was never the same.
Yeah, I was there.
She was hyped the rest of the week.
Yes.
She came home talking about, oh my God, Kev, you should have seen it. She was high too, but it's like, you should have seen it. It came out the sky, I have no idea what she's talking about. Until I saw that. And I was like, oh yeah, that must have been some of the most amazing stuff to see at a concert. So even watching, like I said, on videos, like, yo, it's still something to see, but I can only imagine, like you said, being there, the experience of being there to see that.
I could tell you this. I was at the Garden. People lost their mind. Right. George, when he came, he just stood there and just let everybody scream for like 5-10 minutes before he even walked down the stairs. Because he knew then. He said, man, things will never be the same. Right. I read his book, a couple of them. And Boogie Munson looked up and said, man, I'm standing under like $2 million worth of lights. People like that, these are their quotes, because I talk at home with these people. I talk to them and film with them. And it's like being a kid. And like you said, you hear, oh, the mothership's coming. The mothership's coming. Everybody got their tickets early. Because back then you had to buy tickets 2 months in advance, a month in advance. Right. Ticketron wasn't messing around. Right. Shows would sell out fast.
15 minutes. That's why I never got to see Jackson 5 in person.
Right. Fast. It ain't like today where you can get StubHub and all this other bullshit.
If you lived in Queens, you was out because you had to go down to Madison Square Garden and get them tickets.
Exactly. So, I had to go. You're right. Yep. I had to go to Nassau Coliseum to get tickets for the Garden, because that's what it was. Ticketron was.
The way I was, we was just out. We had to take a train. It was like, yo, there ain't gonna be no tickets left there. You might be looking for a scalper.
Right.
But when you look at shows, when they used to have Superfest,
Yes.
I remember when Stevie Wonder, headlined that, and just every city they really had some different people. But you don't see that stuff no more. You don't see those type of lineups no more. You got Essence, and even Essence is like, okay, y'all don't really have anything there that maybe I want to see.
Yep.
Because it's not diverse enough.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, they do have the lounge. I mean, y'all put Mint Condition on the show. Okay, there goes somebody I want to see.
Yep.
But there's people with the money again. It's that come together. The fact that you're an ambassador, a funk ambassador with Bootsy and his wife. So it would take that, and especially somebody like Bootsy to have some investors. And me personally, man, I see that going outside of. I mean, there's black dollars, right? But who's really into the culture? You probably could get some Japanese money to do something like that.
Yep.
Take a tour to Japan, and they will put money behind that.
Yep. That's right. It's funny. What's up, Curtis? Thank you, man. All this great artwork back here, And again, man, we don't want to leave nobody.
That's Funk Da Vinci.
Yeah, God, yeah,
yes,
man.
Thank you for turning me on to him, man. He did a great thing for me. I got to show it to you.
Yes, please. See, and that's why I'm so grateful I could do this, man. And not to be remiss, Kane and Jams, Kane Entertainment, Tony Cam, Napier Funk Army, Oak City Music Collective, Afterglow 92416, Q&A Entertainment, Brooke Clagett, my Funk Angel, I'll see you at the ball. Patricia Diori, Aquarius Rising Art, Curtis Wilcox, and of course, George the Funk Da Vinci back here. Dr. Brookenstein, who takes care of the website for 30 years.
Brooks,
my man, JTRP, Big Funk Radio, Gabe, and Larry Funkster Jones, and all you guys are great. Robin Circular P, Philly Phil, get on the funk bus down there in Texas. Thank you all for pumping Napier Funk Army, man. Y'all are hanging out with us today. Special show, the first of this month of our anniversary, 3 years in the running, man. This brother is like in my heart forever. If you had transitions, God bless you. I lost somebody last week very close to me. She was like my daughter. Yeah, Lisa. So Lisa, I know you're watching, trying to do great things. If you got birthdays, happy birthday, anniversary. So what's up, my boo? CB, I love you. When we think about, and you said something that resonated with me when we were talking, and I want you to tell our young people out there, success never leaves the head of some people. And then some people put it into action. It's not about necessarily this, but I give the young people a little caveat of what you meant.
Yeah, because like we were discussing, when people success for me, and I would think, and it don't necessarily have to be a young person, because it could be somebody that's been trying, is when you let the world, the system, tell you what success is.
Amen.
That's where the problem comes.
Amen.
Because like we were saying, have you ever thought, and like you did, you celebrating your 3rd year. I just came upon 2 years with my own podcast.
Amen.
Rewind. Thank you for being on that. They started as a thought, and we made it happen. That's success.
Amen.
The world will tell you you're not successful if you ain't got a bunch of money to waste and you ain't got the big house. Success is no different than when an entrepreneur goes, hey, my grandmother taught me to cook, and I always wanted to have my own, either it be pop-up or a food truck. And then they did it. I got a food truck, or I got a restaurant. That's success.
Yep, that's right.
I successfully did what I set out to do. Steve Anderson, my brother, me and Steve went to school, high school. And we used to sit in class and talk about we wanted to play for name artists. Yeah, man, I want to go on the road and, and play for artists, blah, blah. So we were at, I forgot the place now in Jersey. It was a popular theater. We playing for Blue Magic.
Yeah. I got to tell you a story about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we sitting in the dressing room, and I was like, yo, Steve, I said, guess what? He was like, what? I said, we did what we set out to do. And he never think about that. I said, what we used to talk about in science class? And he's like, yeah, we wanted to play for name artists. And I said, we playing for some legendary name artists, man. I said, I saw Blue Magic when I was 9. I said, now here we are playing in their band. You know, and for me, that's success. So whatever you set out to do, whatever thought that you have that you want to make happen, and you do it, you're successful.
Amen.
Now, again, you know, you're gonna have to keep fighting to keep it going, but you did it. Again, like we said, how many people never do it? They will always talk about, oh, I always wanted to do this.
Yes.
They always say, but this happened, but that happened, but this happened, but that happened. Yeah. And they'll go through their life kind of like always that bothering them.
Yeah.
You know, people scared of failure.
That's right. See, and you're right. And I'm glad you said that because I was listening to, I listen to a lot of inspirational stuff. I watch a lot of these cats speak, Denzel, you know, people that had these stories. You know, I was watching my guy, Morgan Freeman, and he was like, listen, he's like, people don't even know he started on that child show. He was the engineer conductor.
Wait, who Morgan Freeman said?
Yeah.
Yeah, electric company.
Yeah. So he said people always asked him, hey, you're such a great actor and this and that, Grammy Award, whatever, driving his daisies, Shawshank. Why did you do that? And he said, a brother had to eat, a brother had to work. He said at that time, that's the only thing that was open. And so he said, you know, I'm going to be the best child conductor on electric company they ever had. You know, and that's what sprung him into other stuff.
Yeah,
and he
said a character called Easy Reader on there too.
Yes.
Irene Cara came from that show.
Yes.
What's the other lady that's an EGOT? The Hispanic lady. I forgot. She
yes. Rita was it Rita Marie? Was it
Moreno? Whatever.
Marina. Yes. See, and people don't realize the opportunities ain't always going to be what you want, but like Kev just said so eloquently, man, you got to take them and run with them. Sometimes when I feel like giving up and we all go through hard times and then I look around, I was like, man, people depend on me, so I can't quit. Right. I can't quit, man. I don't care if there's one person watching. I was like, you know what?
And like you said, doing what you got to do. So here's the story, right? I'm MDing Freddie Jackson. So you remember when I was doing that?
Yeah.
We did theater at the Garden so that, you know, they named it so many different things, Paramount, whatever, at Madison Square Garden. We on the show, we opened for Ashford and Simpson. And it was a Valentine's Day show, right? So we there. Now, mind you, because my kids are still a certain age, I'm still going to work. So one day I'm there at the theater, I'm MDing. The next day I'm delivering boxes there. And I had a guy at the entrance. He said, hey, didn't you play here last night? I said, yep, can you sign here? You know what I'm saying? So the hustle was real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like, because the kid still got to eat.
That's right.
So, you know, I'm like, hey, Freddie worked last night. He ain't working tonight.
That's right.
I do. So, you know,
yep.
I mean, and that's happened plenty of times. Like you said, it's like, yo, but you still want to do what it is that you set out to do.
That's
and
right.
These are the things that you might have to do on the way.
Yeah, that's right. Amen. You know, I got to look Steve up. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years now. But since I moved here, I had went out and visited him a few times, you know. But here's my Blue Magic story, right, bro? So Daryl says, hey, he calls me up. Daryl Johnson, one of my favorite keyboard players, the original nappy head keyboard player. Love Daryl, right? He calls me up and he says, listen, Blue Magic needs a drummer for the Newark Symphony Hall for that night. I was like, bet, send me the tape. So I get the tape and I'm listening and I was like, who the F is this drummer? Like all the stuff, all the stuff I had to learn, right? I'm listening to it, only to find out years later it was you. It was you. I was like, and Kevin's like, yeah. I was like, is that you? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. I said, bro, you was crushing me. I had to sit in my room for like days just to go to the audition to do what you was doing. So that's my Blue Magic story. I made the audition, but then they didn't do the gig because it was with the Isley Brothers.
Oh,
you know, the Isley Brothers canceled, so the Blue Magic went somewhere else, and then they didn't need me because it was just a sub for that one night. But yo, that's my Blue Magic saying I was good enough to do it. You know, I had the chops and everything. I wasn't you, but I was good enough. And at the time, I had just got into double bass, so I was trying to incorporate some of that. And they're like, "Oh, we don't need none of that. Just stick to the tape, champ."
That's another thing me and you used to talk about is like people leave and anybody could be replaced, but you want them to remember that you was there.
Yeah.
You know, by how you do it, because I don't even know who was playing. I know it was Wasi, like was the drummer. I don't know if you know him. He's from Queens. I think I probably took his place because he was probably their most steady drummer.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm gonna play like I play. I learned your show, and then I got to bring me to it though.
Yeah.
So that was I think I was with them for like 2 years, and I got them accustomed to how I played things.
Yeah.
Because when I first got there, I had to adjust to them.
Yeah.
Because they were, you know, certain drum rolls are cues.
Yes.
In their choreography. So, you know, they was doing those telegraph rolls, you know, those 70s for those groups back then, man. That thing. So I did it at first. And then I started alternating it, but not for them to go, what the heck is going on? And over time, they didn't even realize that I wasn't playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because as long as they knew what was going on, because it was for their choreography.
Yeah.
So that's how I made it mine. Because believe me playing like that is not how I heard it.
Yeah, and believe me, when I got your tape and I'm listening, I was like, okay, I could do this. But then I was listening to your nuances and how you was cueing everything. Because I had, like you said, I've had to learn where those cues were.
Right.
You know,
which was
and that's what, you know, it was just a great experience, man. And I always talk to Dennis, and he told me sometimes. So I asked him a lot of times when he's doing, you know, the 7/8 strokes, but then sometimes Dennis would just do but the music would still be at that high tempo. Right. And I said, why do you do that? And he said, because it actually slows everything down in his mind, because everything is moving so fast with his feet. He says he did that sometimes to train his mind. It doesn't have to be that much to be overpowering. And that's the one thing I liked about Dennis. He's my guy, man. It's like you as well. You guys always knew where to put the right stuff. Not a lot of drummers know that these days.
Yeah, that's that musical side. You know, we still got to play musical.
That's right. That's right.
My Dennis Chambers story was he destroyed I had a white Rogers set. And there was a jam at Paul's house, Paul Frawley in Queens. And so I lent them my set. And so I came down and I was like, oh my goodness, man. You gonna play my set like this? You know? Okay, and so because I hadn't knew it Dennis because he was playing with Donald Blackman, because he did that album, and he used to work on 48th Street for a little while. I think what was that? One of those device places, MX something. They had an actual store.
Yeah.
But they had a live band that would come that played in there. It was the workers. They actually was the band, and they would be demonstrating the stuff that was sold.
Yeah.
So the guitar player would have all these boxes and he's demonstrating. And Dennis and him had this stuff to trigger, and that's what they would do. It was him and Chango. I don't know if you remember the drummer Chango.
Yeah, I heard the name. Yeah,
they both worked there. So depending on when you got there, they alternated on who was playing. And but yo, if I could find that tape, I think I still got a cassette tape of that jam, because Robert Damper, who ended up playing with Kenny G, was there for that. And Dennis was, oh my gosh, man, to be able to sit there and watch him, on any set. And then later I saw him, he was with John Schofield.
Yeah,
I never saw him with P-Funk.
Oh man, let me tell you, I tell everybody to this day, if there's a Mount Rushmore of music, P-Funk All Stars Live on the Beverly has to be on it. There's no doubt about it, because with him and Skeet, Skeet's my guy. What's up, Skeet? I know you be sneak watching sometimes, so I got you, bro. I'm trying to get you on. But when they brought that fusion stuff to it, and they speeded that P-Funk up, and them horns was like, okay, now we can really stretch, you know. And then of course, Mike, Eddie Hazel was still alive, Blackbird, Bernie Worrell, Bootsy. Talk about off Boogie Munson, Gary Scheider, All Stars, Lodge Curry. That disc right there changed my musical direction forever. I was already ahead, but when I saw them live, I went to the Red Parrot when they came through, and then 2 weeks later, they was at the Ritz. I went there when they came through, and then I seen them also at Tramps. I seen that show about that whole year. I seen that show about 4 different times. And Dennis, I had said, hey, man, you gave me that Zildjian shirt at the drum contest a couple of years ago. And he was talking, he was a shy cat, had that big-ass afro. And I didn't realize how short he was. Not that he's short, but I didn't realize I was taller than him. Because on the kit, he looks like a giant.
Right.
You know? And I just started talking drums with him, man. And, you know, even when I met Dennis, saw Dennis 3 years ago, we did the Crab Fest, and I mentioned you and Sharia. I was like, hey, he's like, yeah, how they doing? I was like, yo, Kevin's still my man. We talk all the time, this and that. So he got mad respect for you.
Yeah, I saw him at but he was at Bernard Memorial.
Yeah.
That was Lenny and everybody. It was a bunch of drummers. Drayton. Yeah, that was the thing, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, back to when you were speaking about different stuff in the neighborhood. So, you know, Ronnie Drayton was the rock cat in our neighborhood.
Yes.
He was the rock head.
Andy's guy.
And, you know, right. You know, and again, but Ronnie was a drummer first.
Wow.
He was a drummer. Wow. And so when I started playing with Nona, you know, that's why he would always say stuff to me like, yeah, you know, because then I found out that so he was a drummer first. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. So you hear it.
One of the highest honors I ever had in life, and I don't even know if there's tape or anything of it, is when Ronnie Drayton asked Andy to use Dirty Vamp, and he did a seminar at the club.
Really?
Yeah, myself and Tanya. You wasn't there. It was me, Tanya, and Andy, and we went to the club. It wasn't Wetlands, but it was the one up the street from Wetlands, and he did a seminar there about guitar playing and stuff like that. And it was a jam, but he basically was talking about what he was doing. And then he would have a different artist come up and play a song that he liked. And let me tell you something. He loved Dirty Vamp.
Yeah.
He said, man, y'all put that together. He said, he asked me, I was like, yo, that's Kev. You know what I'm saying? Even P-Funk Radio, when they play it, they're like, who's that drummer? I was like, that's Kev. Keith Jackson of P-Funk Radio said, man, now they have put their foot in the ass of that. You know, one take live, you know. So, but yeah, we're hanging out today with my main man, Kaden James, KHX Entertainment. We got a video that we're going to show. Mr. Markley, you ready with that? That's Smooth Oasis. Is that the one, Mark? Okay, we're going to run this for a minute. Y'all check this out, man. This is dope. My main man. I love it, man. And then we're going to bring Mark on.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Today on Musician Rewind, we have KHX, the Kevin Harrington Experiment. We're going to get into his latest single, Smooth Oasis, featuring John Groove Willis, and then we're going to get into the rest of the project.